From all you said so far, if someone has to come back to another life to enjoy or to reap the benefit of all that he has worked for in his previous life, I do not know what other name to call it, if not, reincarnation. Because in heaven, what would you be doing what would you be doing with those, what would you be doing with them? There's enough in heaven, more than enough for all of us. So what would you be doing with them in heaven?
I get your point. Yeah, but let's just expand that your thinking a little bit. You are limiting your thinking to reincarnation, which is a very valid point, but we don't want to go into that. But let's expand. The heaven you mentioned, how did it come about? The heaven came about as a continuation of life hereafter. But you are now using heaven to say, the only reason you are bringing heaven is to say he doesn't have to come back here to enjoy all of that goodwill. He can actually stay there in a place called heaven where provision has been made for the good life that he could not have on life as a result of, as benefit of his practice of principle. Is that not what heaven is? The whole idea of heaven and hell is you have done so well while you were on earth. You practice principle, everything worked beautiful. You passed. Therefore, go to this place and enjoy what you did while you were on earth. Is that not what heaven is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what heaven is now. Heaven is not here.
Now let's assume, we talk, this example was based on someone whose life was cut short, presumably, right?
Presumably, yes.
Now, for somebody who lived his or her life, to completion, like to the exact time the person ought to have lived that life. Now the person goes to heaven, and now there's this other guy you talked about, or this other person you talked about, right? So the person who lived the whole full life, applied all the principles where necessary, then what would
whether you lived the full life, or you lived half life, or you lived one day, that 1 year that you lived, how did you spend it? If it was spent such that the practice of principle, you clothe the naked, you give food to even the wicked and the hungry, you practice principle, whether it was for 1 day or for 100 years, you will be rewarded accordingly. And then, seeing it from the heaven and hell philosophy, the place of reward for doing good, doing good is basically practice of principle. The place of reward for practice of principle is heaven. The place of punishment for being evil, not really for non-practice of principle, for being evil. You are not punished for not practicing principle. You are punished for being self, for being evil. Okay, so that place is hell. So that is the concept of heaven and hell, that life beyond here continues. So there is life beyond hell. Do good so that you will be rewarded in heaven. If you do evil, you will be punished in hell. Now, if we agree to that point, then where is heaven? Where is hell? Is it down below? Actually there is down below in the crust of the earth, there is fire that is as hot as the sun. All right? What's that subject now? Whether geology or geography, whatever, there is fire there. Sometimes this fire can even melt rock. You know how rock, mountain, will melt rock and then it will result in volcano, and then you see rock. The degree of fire. So is that hell? Is there the other planets and the other much more than planets, the universe, the galaxies, and those where all those stars and wherever heaven is, we do not really know now, or we just believe that there is a place called heaven. It may not even be a physical place. It may not be a physical place. But the whole idea I'm bringing from that is not to tell you this is heaven or this is hell. What I want to bring from there is a school of thought even believes that this heaven can actually be somewhere here amongst us, but just on a different realm. So wherever that heaven is, if you just extend it to the possibility that it could be somewhere around us, then it is also possible that the person comes back here to enjoy that heaven. Although for me personally, I believe that the world is greater and much bigger than just Earth. There are, even if you wanted to assign one planet per person, there will be enough planets for each person to rule as king. But back to your point, it is possible that this heaven is actually here. And then, even though we're talking about the world is hell, the world is this, there are people actually in this world and they are enjoying like they are in heaven.
Yeah,
yes,
totally
they may
agree.
not be very many. They may not be very many. So, wherever that heaven is, the point is, all of the work of principle would proceed and be available beyond our material and physical death. So maybe these people that you talked about are simply enjoying their own heaven here on earth because of the work that they had done that you did not know about, that you were not there when they did it.
Okay.
So if, where did they do it? Well, we only know this life. At least we know, I'm sure that the common ground on which we are teaching all of this is that there is life everlasting. That our sojourn here is only part of a life everlasting. Let me face the camera from. All right? It's only part of a life. So if we do not believe that there is life everlasting, that everything we do here is just this word and that's it, then it may not be worth practice of principle. Just do whatever you want to do here. That's it. But the reason, at least part of the reason, we are looking deeper. And then we're actually getting witnesses to say, I can feel it. There's something deeper than me that is telling me this that I'm hearing from. Whatever that deeper thing is, I believe it is connection to where I came from or something that has to do with where I'm going. Whatever it is, all of that is spirituality. Whether we believe it from this, from there, from this religion, from that, at least we all have this common truth that there is spirituality and there's something bigger than us that we should be part of in order to find fulfillment. Otherwise, we are too empty by ourselves to find fulfillment, just like the mobile phone is too empty by itself to be a useful device.